Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love put me at the top of the world. Every single thing
Of Around the Piano, and we've got some special guests today that we're going to introduce in just a minute. But first, a word from Drew.
Ooh, what's going on, Tim? How you been, man?
That's more than one word. I said.
I know. My words are fast, so they cluster together.
I get it.
So that becomes one word. Hey, listen, folks. First and foremost, if you like what you see here, go to our YouTube channel at 216 Creator Studios. Hit that like, share, subscribe, smash that bell so you get those future notifications. And check out some of our other shows. We got some good other shows out there. Tim, what's one of your favorites?
My favorite is always Let's Talk Local.
That's a great show.
It's not necessarily about just right here in Crystal Lake where we're located.
That's right.
But it's about wherever you are at local. We want to talk to you and hear about your small business.
We want your story, right? We want you to be exposed to the world, Tim.
That's
about
right.
What they do, how they do it, some of the magic. I love the animation over there. That's great. Thanks. That costs extra, folks. Hey, listen, today's episode is sponsored by Piano Trends. School's coming around the corner, guys. You're going to need instruments for those kids to play in those bands. We do lease to own options. And there's lessons that go with that. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
You know, what is really cool is if you're going to be going into school band for the first time, you're going in kind of cold. We can help you get started, and your child's going to go in with a little more confidence. He's going to rent that instrument at a better price than you're going to get anywhere. And we've got teachers that specialize in every instrument. Mm-hmm. And you want to do a woodwind, we've got Barb. You want to do brass, we've got Amy. And the list goes on.
It goes on.
It goes on and on.
You have a talented staff.
We do have a talented staff.
Aldrin alone. I'm like, I secretly hate him.
Well,
because he's so talented.
Yeah, he plays the piano, and then I can't touch it for 2 weeks. You
know? and he sings bass. I mean, I don't know what he doesn't play. I mean, listen, I rock out, and I've said it before, the cowbell pretty well. The triangle, secondary instrument.
Yeah, well, I've heard you play the triangle. You keep up with it. Keep practicing.
Right. Well, I'm working on it. Yeah. I got a solo coming up.
You do.
The zither. Thanks to you, I now have a zither. I'll be rocking that out, playing some Metallica for everybody. That'll be great. Hey, so listen, and also Piano Trends also does pianos. Everybody at least needs 3 pianos.
At least, right?
One in the garage for those garage piano days. One in the basement, just in case you're on your lows. You go in the basement, you play the piano. It's nothing but the blues, baby.
Little known fact, Drew, Liberace had one in his bathroom.
His bathroom was probably the size of my house.
Well, it probably was, and the thing is, he didn't need a piano bench either.
I know.
I had to get a dad joke.
That takes away the whole Android or Apple device, right, in the bathroom. Now it's just the piano.
That's right.
And check it out, guys. You want a Gucci bag piano? We can do it. You want a steampunk piano? We can do it. You want something? It's a piece of furniture for your house. We get it. But it's also going to be that talking piece in your house. And then learn how to play it. We can only, listen, you don't have to live here. Zoom is a wonderful thing. Online platforms are a wonderful thing. Lessons. We do lessons right over that platform. So check us out. Pianotrends.com, or you can reach Tim at
pianotrends.com.
Awesome. It looks like we got some awesome guests today. Very lively, very vibrant people that came into our studio today. They looked around, the voices of angels, at least one angel that I'm aware of. But listen, I can't carry a tune in a shopping bag, so I'm excited either way. Why don't you introduce our guest today, Tim?
Well, I'll tell you what, we are so excited. We've known both of these people for a long time now, but Lisa Rock has the voice as close as you can get to Karen Carpenter that I've ever heard, and I think most people agree. And of course, Ken McMullen plays as well as Richard Carpenter.
Too kind.
No, I'm not a kind person. Just ask anyone. Yeah. But these two, their Carpenters tribute band is close to you. They appear locally, nationally, and you've traveled overseas as well, right?
Not yet.
Not
We're working
yet?
on that one. Yeah,
Okay.
we're definitely working on that tour.
Well, you've played Crystal Lake, so that's kind of the same thing.
It is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So Lisa Rock and Ken McMullen, welcome. Thank you. And
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks for having us.
we usually start by just letting you tell us a little bit about your background and how we got to this point, and then I've got a lot of questions for you at that point.
Boy, how did we get to this point, right? We met over 20 years ago now doing Christmas Carol and did some cabarets and things. And when I sold out a different show called Sentimental Journey, it's a story about my grandparents. I had my friends at Metropolis Performing Arts Center, Jim Jarvis and Robin Hughes came to me and said, do you have something else you'd like to do? Because you sold this out,
Right.
this matinee series we had started. And I said, I did this Carpenters show before that wasn't really a commercial show. It was very multimedia. I really just want to do a concert and talk about them. And I went to Kenny and he immediately was like, I'm in, I'm in. And he is the other half of my brain, the better part of it, that whatever I sing or say out loud, he just can put it in his hands.
It was beautiful music too. It was music I grew up with. My father was really into jazz, and so all that, 30s, 40s, whatever the mixture that you had in that show was, I loved it. So
and you brought that out,
so.
yeah. And he brings, the band brings that out, that jazz, that jazz portion of it. So that was in the summer. I was just thinking, it's 15 years now. It's our 15-year anniversary. But that was in the summer of 2010 that we started rehearsing, working on it. And in October, we sold that out. And here we are, 400 shows later, 41 states later, considered the #1 Carpenters tribute. It's hard for me because the press says it in the world. And I'm like, I guess we are, because we're the longest running out there. We, are truly the only one doing what we do with all the instruments and live. Everything is live backup singers, all original key. They listen to it. The music's not published.
Oh,
it's them listening to it and creating
exactly.
that.
And you're very modest, but it's a very true thing. I've seen you show many times, and
Thank you.
I saw the Christmas show for the first time this last Christmas season.
Oh.
That's the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, backstage. We saw you
Yeah.
backstage,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that means
Yeah.
so much when we have family in the house like
Yeah,
that.
it-
Yeah.
It's just a fun. The music of the Carpenters brings out joy. Even the sad songs bring out joy in it. And there's something different about it. Back in the 70s, some people didn't want to admit they were Carpenter fans.
Right. They
Right?
called them closeted Carpenters fans.
Yeah.
That's like me and ABBA. I have trouble admitting that I'm a big ABBA fan.
But now it's okay.
Is
Now
it?
it's okay for
now
us
it's
to say
okay
these
now?
things.
Yeah.
We can, because we're the trend, the 70s, the 80s music that we kind of grew up. I mean, I was little when, this music came out. But yeah, we both, we both grew up from our high schools. You took lessons. I didn't take lessons until I got to junior high and had my choir teacher, Mrs. Carol Gerton, who passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Her husband was the high school choir teacher.
Okay.
I give them both credit because she passed me to him. I took voice lessons. It was like $5 for 15 minutes. He taught me French, Italian, German, put it on a tape. I couldn't read. I didn't learn to read till I read music until I got to college. He taught me what he could, having this 100-voice choir.
Sure.
But he took such an interest in me, and I got a music scholarship, a swimming scholarship. But I give all that credit, like we talk about our high schools, what they did for us, those high school music programs. So that's how I grew up. But you tell them about your, piano playing back in the day, right?
Well, I started taking lessons at a place similar to this back home in Pennsylvania. And it was just a little piano store. And I took a couple lessons.
How old were you?
I was 8 years old.
Oh, come on.
So
Little Kenny.
Third grade. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jingle Bells was my first solo, and I really nailed it out of the park. That was awesome. Anyway, but no, I that was just like any other kid. Just I had to be pushed a little bit here and there. Nintendo came out, so there were distractions. But so just like anybody else, but I just kept it going, and then I went through a lot of teachers. Just like I came from a small town, so. And then I started taking from a college professor in 9th grade. And then from there, I started to take it really, really seriously. And then, yeah.
You did the cruise, but I mean, you did cruise ships.
I did a cruise ship for 6 years of my life.
Yeah.
I was spent on board a boat. That was a lot of rock, jazz, theater.
Just like floating dinner theater, right?
Yep,
it's floating dinner theater where there's people talking. I mean, that I talk about that with dinner theater, right? That distraction of it.
Yeah.
That you can play anything if you can do those types of games.
Yeah.
So now we have people actually sitting down and listening to us. What a thrill. So
Exactly.
So I think a lot of that mixture was what helps with my, being able to survive as a musician in Chicago. The jazz and the rock for the ships, in college it was classical.
yeah, same.
And then I dove into the musical theater scene here.
Yeah,
where I met
that's
you
where
for
we
the
met.
first time.
Yeah.
So I really attribute a lot of that. So it was.
But we talk, and we talk about that with my son's 15, but we talk about when we meet other kids, young kids, and they're asking about what we do, and it's like you have to diversify. You do everything, because people will say, "What's your favorite thing?" We're like, "Well, whatever's paying." We have things we love, but we will do whatever it is. I had to study opera. There wasn't a, here, and I didn't go into musical theater because I tried musical theater after college and did a couple things in college, but it was you had to study opera to be a voice major. So I know that diversifying mattered because I've church choirs I've sung in, soloist is that, done musical theater, opera, you do everything and you say yes to everything.
And I went to church all my life. And
yeah,
so I
same. I was a cantor.
Still in the same church.
Well, when we play, we've done some church things together. It's that I sang at his wedding. I was 7 months pregnant, very pregnant. The last thing I did, my last gig before I had my son. And Danny's just kicking the heck out of me because I'm singing the Ave Maria. And I was like, I love the picture. Here's me and you see me, but then you see the stomach. And I was like, and because his wife and mom go to the church I went to in Evanston. Okay. Yeah. So the whole thing, full circle, full circle for us. And that church music was real easy for us to pick out and kind of do all that together. Yeah.
What's really cool is you just answered a question we ask everybody towards the end of the interview. We always ask, like Drew always brings up, what would you advise young people getting into business? And obviously do everything, whatever you're asked.
Yeah. Do everything. I mean, try to get paid, obviously, but because experience doesn't pay your bills. No. But like and they pay and this is, I had a friend that I was in college with that was very smart about being at the Catholic church we were at. And she was at several cantoring. And I really give her a lot of credit for helping me kind of start that booking concept of you pay the flower person, you pay the photographer. We deserve to be paid as well, and paid well, because what do people remember about a wedding? You remember the music, you remember the flowers.
That's right.
And so I was I took that, to heart and was I respected my talent. I'm like, I'm going to school for this. I deserve to be paid. And so it's realizing that my first paid gig was when I was 15, and I've been paid ever since for anything that I've done. Now I've volunteered. We've done that for causes we believe in. We will do many things
for us down at the Chili.
And we're happy to do things like that, but it's finding you know the things to say yes to. We know, when your red light goes off if something's not,
Right.
a good thing, but it really is saying yes and surrounding yourself with people that love it.
Definitely saying yes. When I first moved here, I picked up a phone book and just started calling, and someone called me back saying, well, you won't believe this, but we just got asked, to have a piano player. We need a piano player for this show. And it was, the whole run was like $250 for the 6 weeks of rehearsal and blah, blah, blah. And I jumped on it. I had no problem saying yes to it. And because of that gig, I got all my piano students that I have to this day. And through that, I got a church, it's all, and actually another thing, which we may be talking about later on today, is that, the soundtrack that you and I did, I had a couple of people say the word luck, and I don't really like that because we got it through someone that we knew, and they talked highly of us, and we did what we were supposed to do. We worked hard. We did our job very well, and
professional.
And they appreciated that, and then the word gets out. So it's just one of those things you just got to.
Well, and the reputation, it does matter who you surround yourself with. I know we say that as parents, but it really, I've said that it matters who you surround yourself with, that you're positive, that you're, being uplifting of the other musicians you're with, the uplifting of other people, because this is not an easy industry. None of this is easy. And remembering when you work with kind people, they remember you for that. We're in the same venues that all of our heroes have been in. And we're sitting in the same chairs. We're sitting at the same pianos a lot of times. And there's no difference other than maybe the success of what, they have done. Sure. But it's remembering that it is a privilege to get to do what we do. And nobody picks up a water bottle and is like playing a water bottle. They're playing air guitar. They're picking up a hairbrush to sing. Everybody wants to be a rock star. And we feel like rock stars getting to do what we do, but it's truly surrounding yourself. And I feel like, Kenny, I love you. You are positive. You are always a positive person. And I feel like we have those kind of band members and people in our family around us. And you find each other in that group of people. You look for that.
That's right.
And we find that and hold those people very close to us.
I love the mindset. And this is where Tim goes, oh, Cappuccino, here you go again, preaching building relationships. Because that's what I do. I do preach. Building relationships is key. You can see a sales pitch a mile away, but the true sale is building those relationships, and those relationships become part of your network. And when you surround yourself around greatness, you become great.
Yes.
And it sounds like you guys have that mindset. I love it. I love every bit of it.
Thank you.
And yes, in even the comment Kenny was talking about, if you throw enough at the wall and you sticks, you run with it. Especially when you're starting out, right?
Yeah.
So I have a question about working on a cruise ship.
Okay.
I come from a culinary world, and I had an opportunity for that. I turned it down. I heard that it is rough if you're doing gigs on a cruise ship, or because you're living on it, right? Can you give us a little bit on that and what some of the challenges were that you had to face when you were on that?
Sure. Now I'm one of the lucky ones because the band, for those who are in the show bands and did all the, whether it's the Calypso or whatever, we had probably one of the lightest schedules of anybody on the boat. So we were blessed there. But there are certainly disadvantages on the boat too. I asked, what do you think we did all day? There was really not much to do. We were constricted on where we could go, especially if we were out at sea, then we were very constricted. But the couple of days out at sea, there was only so much that we could do. And to be honest with you, I found myself, I hate to say it, but it was, there was a big party. And I did it all the time, and after a while, I was just like, okay, I gotta take a break. And when I took a break, it was the end, because it was, by that point, it was a party every night, and
Are you saying you burned out from the giant party?
Yes, I did burn out.
The giant party on the sea.
I was young too, but but there's only so much you take. But there's certainly great things about it too. A lot of people. I met my wife on the cruise
I
ship.
was just
So
going to
I
say
know-
that.
Yeah, I
I
gotta
was
throw
going
that
to
out
say
there.
that. You met
Oh,
your
yeah.
wife. That's
So,
the best part of the cruise
Oh
ship.
yeah, so that was awesome. She's originally from this area, but I
Just had his anniversary too.
Yep, just 16 just the other day, and so gotta say hi to Jamie. And so, but yeah, so there's a lot of little things that added up that were pros and cons. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. What I did, I loved it. I think I was at the perfect amount of time. I learned a lot of just performing and all different styles of music, and which really again helps what I do now. And so any specific questions?
Well, we've got
Jim?
friends who also came from a cruise ship experience. And he's, in fact, Mr. Mike Potts, I believe.
Of course I do. Of course we do. Yeah.
Mike did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And his experience from that led him to everything else that he's done to this.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Everything's a path,
it
right?
is. One of the good things is that you don't have any expenses. And
Right.
so
So you're making your money.
I saved a lot of money, and that's how I was able to move out here, because I didn't have anything here. I didn't have any
I know a lot of
family.
people who've done that,
Yep.
who have gone out to sea because they can make that money is theirs.
Oh, yeah.
They've given up their apartment wherever it is and gone and done that.
Or when you're home, you stay with mom and dad.
Yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a trend. Mine's 15, so I'm having trouble thinking about that. I'm like, you can stay. I know I have to kick him out of the nest eventually.
Not yet.
No.
You
He's
got
still
time.
just going to be a sophomore. But to your question too about that, Drew, I think experience wise, I always like to give credit. That's the other part. You don't ever take credit for something that wasn't yours, your idea, that type of a thing. I have my attitude because I adored and saw Bernadette Peters with Peter Allen back in 1989 at Pine Knob and in Michigan, Pine Knob outdoor theater. So it was her act 1, him act 2. Can you imagine seeing Peter Allen, which is what they based, The Boy from Oz on?
Yes.
And I had just had dinner. This is just another random, because I said yes, with Donna McKechnie, who's the original Cassie of A Chorus Line. I wrote on a napkin, because she was friends with Bernadette. I wrote on a napkin, handed it to the stagehand and said, "We met Donna, would love to meet you." Bernadette Peters took us into her dressing room. And I couldn't speak. I had a very difficult time, but she said, "Do everything."
How cool.
And so I never forgot that. So that is where I got that attitude of listening to someone who I regarded. She had, she has a Golden Globe, she has Tonys, she's done everything. And she said, just do all of it. Do everything, put yourself out there to see, and also to see what you like too. You're figuring out what you like too. Sure. And you're figuring out, that path. I can't look back when I was at my 15, 16-year-old self and see the path that I've taken. It's learning to go onto that and find that and see what works for you.
Well, going back, let's talk about that. So you ended up on this path, this wonderful journey. Where did that stem? So you're a powerhouse, right? You got a great voice.
Thank you.
I've watched your videos. Amazing.
Thank you.
So obviously, how old were you when you started? And what really nudged you into the direction to where you're on that path today?
I literally have that 4th grade. It's laminated. Thank you for my 4th grade teacher. I think it was Mr. Spade. He was awesome. But it was on red construction paper saying what you wanted to do. And I wrote I wanted to be an actor and a singer. So I knew back then. And I was that little kid that my granddad would tell me to get up on the table when I was 5 and sing something. And I just did it. I didn't know to be afraid. I just loved singing. I always loved music. And I think for me, I didn't know, because that's the mystery. How do you do this? How do you make a living at it? And that's where I'm always like, I give people my number. People have my number all over the place to call me, to talk to me, because that's free. That's free advice, because that's always a mystery. So I did my first wedding at 15. That was my first paid thing. And then I went to school for music therapy because I wanted to have the job to fall back on with music. And I auditioned for everything. I auditioned for opera. I won't call the companies out who said I was too young for what my vocal type was. So I auditioned for musical theater 3 times. I got it the 3rd time, and that started that. I really loved musical theater, loved the people I met, but I was still singing at church. I was still singing because I started in church too, obviously. But for, being a cantor at Catholic Church. And so that was a job that I could take with me. So after a while for musical theater, I wasn't getting cast enough. I was getting cast. I'm an equity actor, but I wanted more. I wanted to do my own shows. And I had a friend who just said, write it. And I thought, oh, sure, write just like that. And they said, just do it. And so I was like, okay, did it, sold it out. Did the next one, sold it out. Just kept doing things because I wasn't afraid. And I liked talking to people. I liked people being engaged with whatever we were doing because it's that shared experience.
Right.
They were talking back to me. I was talking with them. Then they had stories afterwards. And it morphed into the Carpenters that I had done back in Minneapolis when I was there. And then it came to this where I was like, yeah, I want more. You know, I want to do more.
Your voice was similar, that you could sing like Karen Carpenter.
I don't know if anyone actually said it.
Because that's a difficult voice to try to duplicate.
It is, but it's also kind of not my speaking voice, but it is, it's there. I always had a big range.
It's natural to you.
It is. And I guess I didn't think about it. It was, and when I did it, people reacted because karaoke came up with us, right? I know karaoke was before us,
Sure.
but there was still karaoke. And so when I did those songs, the reaction in the room was huge. And I was like, oh, and when I did it, I admired, oh, this is a whole nother existential conversation, but I admired that hers was, even though she died how she did, it wasn't about how she looked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't about this image. And I love that people have dancers and do that, but that was never me. I wanted it to be about the band and the music. And so she was just that one person to me. And you listen to anyone talk about who influenced them. Karen's always at the top of that list, from Christina Aguilera, and you have someone like that. Adele is that.
Right.
And Adele has that voice, that it's just about her voice.
That's right.
So,
and
yeah.
You pay such tribute in your conscience because of the fact that you do pretty close to the original arrangements.
It's all theirs.
It's all there.
Oh yeah. These guys still surprise me. I'll still hear something. I was like, hey, I haven't heard that in a few years. And then because they've gone back and listened to the records, and they'll hear that little thing, when Joey does with the claves on hurting each other.
That, obviously the Carpenters had a lot more instruments and
yes.
recording techniques.
On the recordings versus the live.
Where we're 7-piece live.
Yeah.
But because of that, I love what my musicians do, because they each individual adds a little something extra. Like there isn't an exact part, sort of, but there is they can add their own individuality to it. So
they're incredible.
And that's the jazz part of it, and I really like that, and I'm so happy with who plays with us, and that's
it's amazing.
Great, so I love it.
You do see the individuality of musicians coming out.
Yeah.
But the iconic parts, like Tony Peluso's guitar solo.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
we made sure that, and we talked about that as a band too, that I'm the particular hooks that you hear that are so iconic. I really pay attention to that. And I Karen was a parrot, and I know I am too. Like, it's a gift that we have, that I can hear something. It's how I learn languages easily, because I can hear that and mimic that. But it's become ours too at the same time, because we've been on the road so long. So there are things that you absolutely, as an audience member, want to hear, and we make sure you do. But there are things that have kind of become ours. When we listen, we're like, oh, we do go a little faster on that one, or we go a little slower on that, or it has that, and we really talk about, Kenny and I together, when we have other, people come into our Close to You family that will tour with us, that it's, yes, there's rhythm, but there's also a feel, because we've been together so long. We know when he wants to pull that a little more, or she wants to pull that a little more, whatever the band. So we're very sensitive to each other. And again, you've seen us, so we have such regard for each person on the stage and their individual talent. They're not just coming up to us at the end of the show. They come up, to Janet or Joey on drums. They come up to Ian and, on sax and say, oh, I played that. I played clarinet or Jeremy with
a lot of times they go
bass.
right past
And
me.
They do. They're like, oh, yeah,
They
they're
want
fine.
to talk to the woodwinds guy that plays all the
They
instruments.
do. They want to talk to Drew or Evan, whoever, Tina, Tina Napinelli. I want to talk to them and say, hey, I love that you do backup on this. I saw, for Tina especially,
Sure.
right? Tina does a tapestry show and Tina does backup for me. That's how she started. But she always had her own show too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the musicians that we have and the family we have. Like when we're together, we just it's golden. It's just golden.
I think the only thing you should do is have Joey wearing the Mouseketeer ears on the
You know what? I know Kenny's like ham, and he's
You do
such
it.
a great ham. Joey,
is.
because and see there it is, right? Like our entire band loves the audience. They love being there. They're not there to just be
collect a check,
jobbers.
but they're going to get paid.
Of course they're getting paid. They're all no one would ever say they're not paid. They're always paid, but they're not.
It's not just another job.
No, and they're into it, and they participate. They know what the audience is. They know why they're there. Like it really is magic. And I have so many. I'm never thinking, oh, we're getting paid this tonight, or I'm like, look where we're at today. Look where we got to go. I mean,
And you can
we've been
tell from an audience can pick up on that. They know when someone's just phoning it in.
Yeah,
And
they see it.
Yeah,
They see that, and that's where we are very. Nobody auditions for us. I mean, we'll say that it's a reference only.
Mhm.
It's reference from another band member that said this guy gets it. He'd be great on the road, or she would, whatever that is, because it is a very tight family, and we want to keep it that way.
Well, we like it, and we like it when you use Evan once in a while. And his
Oh,
show, 'cause
yeah.
he learned to play piano in our store. He grew up.
Oh yeah. Well, and Evan's in New York, but we still, when we're out east, I know that we have some shows out there that I fly them all over. It doesn't matter where anybody lives. Once you're in there close to your family, you're in it. And so we have people that'll fly from wherever and whatever works for that gig. And they're all, sensitive to that. They know it's like, hey, I have this other thing. And I always tell them, hey, that's really high profile. I mean, look, Ian played with opened for Bon Jovi one time. We're like, yeah, you need to go to that. I think you're going to get paid more for that.
We'll let it slide.
Yeah, it's okay. So, we'll whatever it is that benefits all of us, because, we're proud of each other and everything we all do.
In fact, I think Evan's coming in to do Tina's show in a couple
He is
weeks.
in a couple weeks. Yeah.
And
He'll
then
be here.
Switching gears, the week after that, you're doing your 80s show.
Oh no, we're doing Julie Andrews.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
the
we're doing
Julie
Julie
Andrews
Andrews. So we have so many local friends that we've worked with, and again, musical theater for us. We've done a matinee series that we've done at Metropolis, but we're doing some at the Row. We're doing at Elgin Community College as well. Their wonderful arts center, and I have written. Different things like that, like Julie Andrews. We had a Bernadette Peters. We did some Sondheim. So we love
Bernadette
all
Peters.
of that.
I've not seen your Bernadette piece. By the way, we're done here downstairs. We have a grand piano signed by Bernadette.
I know that. I was hoping to take a picture with that.
Go see that. But we had a similar experience with Bernadette. Bobby and I, we provided a piano for a WTTW show several years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we went to the rehearsal. And her rehearsal is not just sound check through the rehearsal. She went through the entire show to make sure it was right, including laying on top of the piano and the whole ball of wax there.
Oh, my goodness.
And during a break, we were sitting next to her there, and she was looking at her phone, and I was on my phone. We were catching up on things. And she had a picture of her dog as her cover photo. And I had a picture of our dog as a cover photo.
Aw.
Turns out we used the same dog food back then, and so we always
What a
did the same.
coinky.
What a coinky, right? I'm telling you.
Connected by dog food.
Connected by dog food. So just shows what a small industry this is. Even though music
It
is
is.
so big worldwide, everybody
It is.
kind of knows everybody or encounters everybody.
Oh, yeah. And what an incredible example just of a human she's always been. Her Broadway Barks thing is, the Broadway Barks that she does. And she's doing that with Sutton Foster in Schubert Alley. So she's always, I admire that. I admire people putting their celebrity, to good use for good causes like that. And she's done that. And we're telling people, because we started with our mission, with our band, we always donate to a local food bank everywhere we go. And we said, we know Taylor Swift heard about that from us. We know that, but it's fine. I'm kidding. I know she's made life-changing donations, but in our small way, it was influenced by Ingrid Michaelson for Ingrid Michaelson's song that had come out at the time about being brave, facing your fears kind of thing. And we wanted to give back everywhere, and we donate to anorexia clinics as well. There's not as many
every
of
donation is life-changing.
It is
great. It could be small. Here at the studios, we deal with wounded warriors, we deal with kids in need, we deal with playhouse. It's whatever you can do to give back, and it helps grow, and you're part of that community. Now, is your community local? Great. Is your community global? Great. But it doesn't matter if you're giving big dollars. That always helps. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But if you're giving, you're already getting, because you're already making it.
It means a lot too when, to us, that because it is local, then it becomes about them, that we feel like we're leaving something behind, that we're leaving, that when we donate, because I usually donate after the show, that I come back and go online or send a check or whatever it is that I can do, because I take a percentage of all of our CD sales and things we do like that, and donate that. We know that I always put it in honor of Karen, and they know who it is, because it's usually a town that I've said it out loud. Someone will come up to me and hand me a card and say, this is where I work at this food bank. And so we make that, that connection that way. But I've always admired that in other celebrities, and you don't always hear about it, right? You never hear about Taylor Swift is just on a grand stage that you're hearing that. But I like that too, that someone's on that grand stage, because then hopefully it influences someone, because someone influenced me with that. Someone else said, well, we give a portion. And I was like, oh, I could do that. This is something we could do, because then it's not about us, and it's about that community. The right thing. Well, and so many communities, right? Like that we go to and we come back to, we have, I can't remember, it's like in the 90 percentile of being asked back everywhere we've gone.
Well, the ROI on that is you're leaving a legacy. You're leaving a mark of who you are as people, as well as what your music is. Wow. So that's the payback to being able to donate. So you're helping people. A lot of people don't realize, they don't put a dollar sign in front of the word help. When you help 10, you get 20. And so now you're building those relationships. Going back to that, Tim, sorry. Building those relationships. And,
their banter's like ours.
Relationships a little bit.
Their banter's like ours.
It is.
It is. It's kind of similar, right? We can go, he can finish it, I can finish it. Something like it's.
Well, so we feel the same way you do.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tim's the musical genius here. I am not. My magic is behind this microphone in the studio. Obviously,
which is magic.
Plays a part, right?
Yeah, plays a huge
I can
part.
Talk about an apple for like 3 hours, as you can tell.
It's a gift.
It is. It
is an absolute gift.
Unless you're my wife, then it's a curse. She's like, you've been in line at that grocery store talking to a stranger for like 3 hours.
Oh, but you are the same. I'm my father's daughter. You've never met a stranger. I know you know your mailman's name.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I know when I took my son to the grocery store last night, I was so proud to tell Miss Vicky at Jewel, look, Danny drove here.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't tell you that. Danny drove to the grocery store last night from my house. He did all right. It was in the dark too. And I was very proud.
First round with the license?
First round permit. Got the permit. Ooh. We did it and he wasn't going to go. And he's like, can I do? I'm like, yes, you can do that. I said, and if you're uncomfortable, there's a turn everywhere. You can turn onto that side street. And it's literally 1.5 miles.
Your mail woman already told me about it. So.
Yeah.
I got a daughter doing the same right now.
Oh.
And so she hasn't gotten behind the wheel yet, because every time she's in the passenger seat, she's like, look at this over here. What are they doing? This is why I don't want to drive. I can't. I'm like, you know what? We'll take our time, because my ulcer, right?
Yes.
You know, we handle so much. If I'm in that passenger seat, I'm the worst passenger.
Oh no.
I make noises.
Oh, and I love it. Oh no. I'm like, okay, let's stop. And I said, now we're going to just back up and try again. Oh, I kind of surprised myself. I'm very calm about it because I've told him.
So you'll be teaching my daughter.
I would be
Thank you.
happy to. It's just, no, it's funny to me. And you know what? It's Katie that said, be predictable. That's how she learned to drive. She said her dad told her, because I guess where she's from, they just gave you your license. And I was like, what? What?
Huh?
How do you just get a license?
It's Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, she's from Kentucky. And she said they just like took the test.
That kind of explains a lot, though.
Yeah, right. And I was like, what? But she said, she goes, well, I'll tell you the advice. Bless her. She's 30. And I said, okay. She said, her dad said, be predictable. So I keep saying that out loud to my son. I said, are they being predictable? And he goes, well, they have their blinker on. I said, so you know where they're going. So you don't have to be afraid. Just be predictable. Put your brakes on. Don't speed. So I've been frighteningly calm. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're going 30 too. We're over at the College of Lake County where we drive, where everybody in that area knows that's where you go because there's a nice road. But I've let him come out on the road, but not on 45 because it's 45 miles an hour. And a little nervous, but he's getting it. He's getting it.
You're awesome.
Yeah, I'll take it. Listen, I want you in the car too because
Sure,
I'll take her.
As long as you're playing Carpenters music while you drive,
I know.
you should
That's
be
see,
fine.
Right.
and he didn't want music on, and last night he wanted music on for the first time, very low, and he was okay. He did all right at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. Keep work. You've got it.
I'll go for it. Yeah, I'll do it. But I don't know if there's enough drugs in the world. I was a great driver when I was younger. My father was the same. He was a bad passenger. He would yell about everything. No, turn now, now. And I'm like, mailbox.
I will say, believe me, he is pulling to the right. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we did his very first drive in the neighborhood. He almost took out a mailbox, and I said, "Whew," and I didn't grab the wheel. And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Well, did you see?" He goes, "Oh, well, the mirror's just kind of right up against it." And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay, so you're not feeling that just yet." So
my father told me, look at the hood ornament. That's when hood ornaments were a thing.
Oh.
And if that's in the center of your lane, you are in the center of your lane.
Yeah.
Oh, that was, what?
So-
That's so funny. There's so many little things like that I'm trying to go back in my brain to figure
Stop
out
at
how to.
Starbucks, get a straw, tape it to the hood.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's,
Here's your little,
That's right.
because my grandmother had a Lincoln Continental,
Oh,
a
yeah.
boat.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it looks like a
Yeah.
cross. And so that was kind of right?
That's the targeting system.
Yes, it
Right.
was. It's not Star Wars. You don't have the buttons to, we all make that joke if we had the thing to push.
So what's in the future with the band? So everybody's got a goal. Everybody's got a stretch goal. What's the goal, and then what's the stretch goal?
Wow. Have we thought about that? We want to re-record one of our CDs. We want to do Christmas.
Yep.
We definitely want to do some international stuff.
We're gonna definitely help you with that.
I love that. We have, I was actually negotiating in 2019 with a place in Chile and Europe when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of circling back to that, to do some of the overseas market as well, just because we want to go and take our families. That'll be a family trip
Sure.
for all of us to go and do a show every couple days so that we can enjoy the European leg of what we wanted to do. So that was definitely in the works. So I want to definitely do that and keep going because we love the places we've played. And if we circled back and did what we've did over the last 15 years, I'd be happy to do that. Like we really love getting to enjoy that, getting those extra fun things when people have given us private tours of museums and just little extra getting to meet people, whatever that is. We've really created, I feel like, you said it, and that's very kind, the legacy of it, leaving a legacy of something that we feel very proud of what we've done and where we've been. And so we want to keep going.
Way to doing that, that's for sure. But speaking of legacy, you've got something new coming up that I think you're going to be well known for. You've got this Christmas movie where you guys have scored the music.
Oh yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we did that. I know.
Yeah.
We get to say that now.
Wow.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
We were both very quiet because it was our first time. So we did, oh my goodness. We were I'm on this women's call
Yes.
that with female artists, a dear friend, Melissa Giattino, that we've known for years. And she was in 42nd Street on Broadway. She's just an amazing performer, artist, friend, all of that. And she had said, I really, during the pandemic, she was like, I really feel like, as women, there's a lot of things we go through, and having kind of a circle of us, whoever can join every week, because everybody's busy. And so it's a different group of people every week. And we were on this call, and Candace came on the call, and I remember Melissa saying, why are you here? Aren't you in like post-production or leaving or going on vacation? And she was. And she said, yeah, but I'm just getting ready. And she was walking around her kitchen with her phone, and it was very funny. And she said, I just need a song on this one part in this movie. And I was like, hey, I was like, I'm a musician. I said, I know my guys. We could do whatever you need. Just tell me. And she goes, really? And I said, yeah. So she said, I'll send you the reel. That's fine. So she sends the reel, which are in 5 20-minute segments. And it's the second reel of the movie. So we don't really have kind of the whole feel of it. Yeah. But she did send me a script. I read the script. I watched it. And I watched past the part she wanted. And I know I sent you that. And I said to Kenny, I said, I wrote the song for my son for his baptism, and it would be perfect, like in the scene afterwards, across the lake, the lake scene. Yeah. And I said that to her when I called her. I said, hey, we have a little idea, because we had a theme basically already, for that little segment. He had the cupboard song, right? We can call it that. We can call it that. It was really, and I called her and said, hey, we have what you want, but I have this other song. And she goes, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, you just want to score the whole movie? And I was like, yes, I do. And I said, full transparency, we've never done this, but I have so much regard for my music director and my band that I know full well that we can do this. And I said, we both secretly, because we had talked about it just for the little segment, said, I'd love to do this. Would love to do this.
So next thing you know, I'm scoring a whole movie.
And he's like, really?
Said
really?
Yes. I was like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I was like, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
No,
yes, right. I know you. I knew you were going to say yes.
Yes. With all sincerity, we had talked about it many times. To get something, as I said earlier, I'm not using the word luck, but the fortunate opportunity to be handed this.
Yeah. Saying yes. And that we said yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that, that was it right there for us. And this woman, Candace, and this is her original last name is different, but she is Candace Kane, Candy Kane. You've got to look her up. She's amazing. Gemelli Films. She's done this. She just celebrated her 20th film. And this, she's amazing. She's truly a force on the East Coast, and her stuff is, all over Amazon and Plex and all these different platforms. But she is because I had a friend, when we posted it, who said, who she is, like, you realize who this woman is. She uses all local places. She goes somewhere and uses all the local people for it. Like, that's fantastic. Oh yeah. She'd be a great interview for your local.
Tell her to call us. We'll talk to
I
her.
will absolutely make the connection, because she's just a wonderful, she's the director, she's the writer, and she's so kind and loyal to people, working with her, starting off maybe as an intern, and then now they're a paid part. Now they're a big assistant producer. Now they're a producer, whatever that is. And again, being amongst this group of women that I'm friends with.
Fun.
Right.
And that was back in March.
And that was in March.
And then
this came together that quickly.
We were done.
Yeah. We I don't know how. I guess it would. We had the first 2 reels.
Yes.
And that took a while because I
we didn't know.
That's exactly.
We wanted feedback. We didn't know. We weren't sure. And then we were like, wait a minute. We watch movies. We do this. This is good. We know it is. But we were questioning ourselves a few times. We had some doubts, and I was like, no, stop.
Yeah,
we know what sounds great and what we like. So whatever we like, they're going to like.
I had to do some homework on it. And because again, I take it for granted just watching a movie, and I don't really think about the music.
Well, now you do. Now everything you hear, you listen to it
really
in a different way, right?
So,
You're like, oh, cool bells.
The style of the music was something I was comfortable writing.
Yeah.
A very Hallmark-esque type. I won't say sappy, but it is a
It is. It's a
comedy,
Christmas. It's a Christmas romance.
Yep.
Yeah, there's an atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
There is.
Yeah,
There's a
there's a
total
certain-
atmosphere, and we both feel that, and it is Carpenters, right? It is
Yeah,
that
there you
concept of the Carpenters of being honest, being right there, and driving the story.
So we the first couple reels took a little bit of time, and then we kept getting the other reels, and then they came pretty quickly, and then it was about a month or so ago that we sent all
the
stuff
final. Yeah, and we had a
Including our-
wonderful music editor who is a friend of one of my son's best friends, older brother, who is a sophomore at Northern. And he is taking a class on all of this, doing this, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He's speaking, because we were like, so what? And he just started speaking the language and doing it. And he was just like literally going, it's done. After he did something like he did, and I was like, oh, okay. Like we're thinking it's all this complicated, whatever. I can't do it. But it was amazing to watch. Yes. Yeah, I know.
Just a lever and a button.
But it was also that moment. I always, when people were asking how we were doing it, it's like, did you see The Holiday with Kate Winslet? When Jack Black's the movie's up, that's what he had on his piano. He had the computer up and the screen and watching it. And I was like, and it was funny because the keyboard's up, and it was because we work so well together, and we both said from the beginning, not going to hurt my feelings. Right. Like this is theirs. Let's think of it that way. This is for the film, not for us. And so I'd be like, no, I think higher on that part. And he was like, I don't like that. However, whatever. But we worked so well together.
99.99% of the time we were
on the exact same page. Yeah. And when you'd send it while I was on the road, or he'd send it on the phone, and I'd listen, and he said, I knew you were going to say that. I knew that. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put that in.
She was very good at telling me, I'm a very busy player. And sometimes she'd be like, can you just back off a little bit, maybe less notes? And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's how
I'm like, I know that's not a technical term. Can it be?
No, this is not about me. It's about the movie. So
they know you're great. All right. They know it. But it wasn't that either. It was still
a version of the Star Spangled Banner.
Yes. Oh, yes. And like the simplicity of it too. And it's like, and I don't take it as a curse, because my son knows the notes. My son and I have perfect pitch, but he knows notes, so he can say it. I can't name the note, but I will, because I didn't learn how to read until I was older. So I can hear the timbre of the voice. And when I'm hearing the music, I didn't realize I was doing it. I was like, well, his voice is down here. If you're too close to the voice, I'm not going to hear what he's saying. I know the sound editor is going to fix that, but it still bothered me. And I was like, that's clashing or whatever. Like, I didn't realize I was hearing that until I stopped and was like, oh, that's weird. And my son even pointed a couple things out too, when he would listen. And, we were both, like, all of us going through the process of it. But and the guy, one of her film, another music supervisor she has that does this, when I was talking to him just to make sure I had done the ASCAP stuff right, because we are now ASCAP Publishers. We are now, and I love McMullen Rock Music.
Yep.
Come on.
That's awesome.
That's a great name. And we're ASCAP writers as well. And we both got our little things in the mail. And I was like, I remember you texted me like, oh, the mail. And I was like, hey, we're ASCAP now. So we're published. And
that should be your profile picture on Facebook now.
That's right. So we're going to be, we published the song, the physical music, and we're now Emmy eligible. We'll be Emmy for the 2025 Emmys. And I was like, what? So I know the whole thing for us is just
remember us small.
Yeah. Somebody said something to me the other day about that. They're like, oh, are you guys going to Hollywood? I was like, no.
We got asked to do a movie.
Yeah,
as best as we could.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty. I'm proud of it.
We love it. Yeah.
We're
not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
We're not expecting anything.
Yeah.
We're just,
Yeah, we do it again in a heartbeat. And now I know you're saying the same thing. I'm hearing music all the time now. I'm like, oh, I could totally put that in there.
Oh yeah.
You know, one of the other movies, she's doing a baseball movie. I'm like, oh, I'd like to score to that. I hear all this baseball music.
movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a series. It's very groundbreaking. She's
Wow, no
cast
kidding.
actors that are also baseball players.
Wow.
So not playing at it. They actually are. And it looks like a really cool.
How fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
Yeah. So
I
you can
hate
link to
baseball,
her too
but,
as well, because I think her stuff is. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Absolutely. She's out east now. No
Oh,
competition.
boy, oh, boy.
No
Well,
competition.
I don't know where the time went.
Oh.
But I know I could do this for like 6 hours. But listen, folks, before we wrap it up, we want to make sure it reminds you, if you're just joining us, go to that YouTube channel, 216 Creator Studios, like, share, subscribe, ding that bell for future notifications. Before we end this up, so we got LisaRockEntertainment.com.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That shows my other acts that I have. Close to You Online is for our Carpenter show, where we're at. But yes, that shows the other acts that I book and manage. I'm including local Tina Napinelli's Tapestry Unraveled show, which will be
is a great show.
Yes,
It's gonna be at the
absolutely.
I
Rouse Center.
love the 80s night out.
80s
Yeah,
night
that
out. We
sounds
just did that
We've
at
done
the
that
Beverly.
at the Rouse Center.
Yes, we
That is
have.
fun.
We'd love to
Yeah.
bring that back
How
too. That's a
fun
fun
is
show.
that? I tell you what, if you guys bring that back, we'll go live.
There we go.
I'll go live for you.
We'd love that.
That'd be great.
Only
So,
if you dress in 80s garb.
That's easy.
Okay, fair enough.
80s kid.
See,
I still have that closet where everybody makes fun of me at home.
still have my high
the
tops.
Walkman, the original Walkman. Yeah.
Mine won't play any longer,
No,
but I still have it.
Yeah.
I'm
I
really
just-
having a hard time throwing that away.
the batteries exploded. In
It's
mine.
yellow. Oh, I'm sure it's my fault.
Oh,
I
for
know
sure
it's
yellow.
my fault. Yeah, the tape won't play. It's total. I accept full responsibility. I can't.
Check them out, folks. LisaRockEntertainment.com. Hey, listen, it looks like you can book right through there. You know what? Take a few seconds, check it out. These guys are fantastic. Go ahead and book some. Go watch some greatness.
Julie Enders show
Okay.
date
Yeah.
The
July
20th. Yeah, July 20th. Arts on the Green.
Yeah, Arts
Yeah.
on the Green. It's our outdoor venue for the Rouse Center over at St. Mary's Church.
That's right.
And it's,
Yeah.
it's always fun. And Tina Napinelli with her Carole King tribute, Tapestry Unraveled.
That's
So,
July
July
13th.
13th.
Yeah.
So check it out. Tickets available at rousecenter.org. So thank you, guys. We got to do this again. We got more
pleasure.
stories. to
Absolutely,
do.
Tim. Thank you,
Yeah.
Drew. Thank you for having us. It
Oh,
just
absolutely.
fantastic. We appreciate it.
So smile, be kind, keep on
Keep on keeping
keeping
on.
on.
From everybody here at 216 Creator Studios, we bid you a good day. Until next time, folks.